This book nearly broke me. Hello. Recently, I finished reading Adam Haslett's new novel, Mothers and Sons, and I think I've read everything that Haslett has published before. His previous two novels, Union Atlantic and Imagine Me Gone, and his short story collection, You Are Not a Stranger Here. And part of my appreciation for the power of his writing is the way he deals with emotion. Often these emotions are simmering beneath the surface, are very suppressed, they are murky, and we only fully understand their complexity by sitting with these characters for a sustained amount of time and following them throughout the plot of these stories. And I think that's especially true with this new novel, which, as the title suggests, deals with the relationships between mothers and sons, how there can often be a lot of tension and difficulty in these relationships, but also it deals with individuals who are trying to be good people and doing a lot of good things, but often at their own emotional expense, not dealing with the issues that are going on in their own lives, and instead just projecting everything outward to try to care and enact positive change in the world. And so even though this story deals with the relationships between a number of different mothers and sons, it primarily focuses on two characters of Peter, who is in his 40s. He's gay. He works as an asylum lawyer in New York City, and he has been estranged from his mother, Anne, for many years. There's been a great rift in their relationship, and Anne lives in Vermont at a woman's commune that she has helped found with her female partner, and she has been wanting to have more contact with her son, but her son Peter has been very resistant to this, and we only understand why by following the course of the story as their backstory and the tensions that occurred very early on in Peter's life and when Anne was younger occurred. And part of the difficulty of this relationship is that it occurred during Peter's teenage years when there were so many different things going on, and part of the challenge of teenage years is just there are so many changes taking place, and especially in the specific lives of these characters, that both Anne was going through a lot of changes and Peter was going through a lot of changes, and they were both dealing with the grief of Peter's father died, and so dealing with that loss amidst massive personal transformations and revelations going on in these characters' lives as they're growing and changing amidst all of these other chaotic events, including a great big tragedy, which is really at the heart of the break between this particular mother and son, and we follow them throughout their daily lives of Peter's life, following through first person perspective, and it primarily focuses on him, but some sections switch over to Anne, and then it also, the style of narration switches over to a third person narration, following Anne's life and the days in her commune, where she and a group of women meet to discuss. It's kind of like a Quaker-like format where they meet in a group in a circle and they discuss everything that they are feeling and thinking, and just expressing it aloud to then sit with it and to try to deal with everything from their past and what they're going through in their present time, and it's meant to be a kind of refuge for women women that are experiencing a lot of difficulties in their lives, or just want a peaceful retreat from the larger world. And it's fascinating how Anne's work is all very inward looking, but Peter's work is all very outward looking, of dealing with individuals who are trying to seek asylum in the United States. And part of, I think, the great power of this particular novel is just how topical it feels with the mass deportations that are going on in the US at the moment. I really appreciated getting this inside look at the day-to-day life of an asylum lawyer as he is going to court and defending his clients, as he is trying to gather testimonies from his different clients and build cases to help them stay in the country, because they have often left really dangerous circumstances and really difficult situations that were occurring in their native country that were threatening their own lives. And one such case that Peter is dealing with is a young gay Albanian man who comes to the United States, and he was fearing his life, that he was receiving death threats from his own family, and so is seeking asylum in the United States. But he's a young man, and he's struggling to figure out how to adjust to this new environment, but also dealing with the massive pressure of the situation of being in a foreign country, and trying to adjust to a new culture, and trying to find the willpower to build his case and work with Peter in order to stay there, and through his interactions, through Peter's interactions with this young man, and it kind of unlocks things about his own past and things that Peter hasn't been dealing with for a long time, by hearing about this young man's story, and by hearing about the stories of some other clients that he works with, that this brings to the surface a lot of the emotions that he has been suppressing throughout his life, and why he hasn't personally been able to find a completely fulfilling life for himself, that instead he's just been projecting everything outward, and this has causes him to be very lonely, very solitary, and there's one line in this book where it's remarked how full of shame it is to be lonely, and I've kept thinking about that line and kind of mulling it over, that we don't want to admit how lonely we are sometimes, and how difficult it is to emotionally open ourselves up, to admit other people into our own realities, and partly this is to do with difficulties that have been encountered in the past, where we've encountered hardships that have almost like taught us to suppress all of these emotions, and this novel shows how a lot of the characters in this story are wrestling with this in many different ways, but particularly through Peter and his relationship with his mother, and how strained that has become. And this is partly to do with a misunderstanding. I think a lot of times when there are rifts in relationships, it's due to some fundamental misunderstandings in where people were in their lives at the time, and why they made the decisions they did, and how sometimes when a parent tries to protect their child, they are also inhibiting them. And of course, this is very difficult to deal with, and I'm not at all placing blame upon parents for this, but as we all know, this is something that can occur between parent and child relationships, but also goes the other way, that a lot of times children aren't being emotionally open about what they're going through, and through suppressing that and not sharing their reality, that a parent can really struggle to know how to manage this relationship, how to best guide and protect their child, and how this story shows a particular case of this, I think is so powerful and emotional, and I got so swept up in this story, and how it deals with the dynamic of this relationship, and it made me think about my own life and past, and people I know, and how we are all wrestling and dealing with this, whether we are close to our parents or not, that there are things about the past that often we just don't bring up, and that we don't talk about because they are too difficult, that and there's a fear about emotionally opening ourselves up, and there's another line in the novel that really struck me, where he writes, "What a waste a closed heart is." And so I think so often, especially in our familial relationships, when we don't open up our hearts and discuss what we are really feeling, that we are denying a relationship that is there and that can be supportive, and instead we become self-contained and solitary and fragmented, and there's a great tragedy to this, and but this novel shows why it is just so difficult to get at that truth, and to admit that truth, and to speak about it openly, and so yeah, this novel really put me through the ringer, and I really felt it, and so I think it's an incredible book, and so if you have read this novel, I would love to know what you think about it, or if you're interested in reading it now, or I'd really recommend all of Adam Haslett's work if you haven't read him before. But thank you for watching me discuss it, and I hope you're doing well and reading good things, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.